look at people running out of their homes and in the morning, and then going back in the evening, and then every day is new. But very interestingly, this is now we've been into it for about an year or so, little more than an year. And now, when the government announces a lockdown, a shutdown, there is no response from anybody. Everybody takes it like, oh, that's life. That's okay, no problem.
My daughter is crying and telling me, Papa, I want to go out because of the lockdown. So right now I'm sitting here, my wife is gone out for work, and I'm watching the time at 8 o'clock. If they're not back, I'm panicking.
Just an update, I have shared the backdrop in the chat. Those who don't have the backdrop, please use it.
Well, I have the backdrop, but my laptop was handcrafted by Steve Jobs as one of the first ones in the world, and this does not still allow the backdrops. So
I forgot to put the backdrop up.
Please bear with me. My turban color and my flowers. That's my standard backdrop. So. We are on YouTube as well today. Fantastic. Has the link been shared with us?
Link.
I suggested he will share the link for the YouTube,
exactly,
so we can send it to other groups as well.
Would your mic?
Thanks, Avodai.
Can you share that in our group also, please, Avodai? Maybe we can share it across in the other groups.
In the WhatsApp.
Yeah, there we go.
Sure, coming up.
Hello, Mr. District Director. Good evening. Happy Holi.
Good evening, Ramesh. How are you?
Namaskar. Very good. Very good evening, Mr. International President.
Ramesh, I am still Program Quality Director for a little while, I guess.
Okay.
Welcome, DTM Ramesh.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. President. All the very best for this evening.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic effort. How are you, DTM Rania?
Good. How are you, sir? Happy Holi to everyone.
Happy Holi. Yeah.
Happy Holi.
Thank you.
Celebrating the peaceful event.
Must be strange not being able to celebrate that one in person.
It's supposed to be, yes, yeah.
It's a festival of colors all over.
Yeah. Gurbinder, you're a festival of colors wherever you go, my friend.
Every day, yes, you have a different color. Yes, you are an epitome of this festival. Yes.
It's supposed to have happening around the world also, where but we are restricted because of the COVID. Only in India, it is not happening colorful event.
We can use the timer, I think, red, green, and yellow in our Zoom. Just use the timer.
Yeah, I am the timer. I will use I will change my entire screen as a green.
No.
Green.
I mean, no, for the Holi.
For the Holi, you can change the colors.
Yeah.
The Holi colors will be in the background.
You can start throwing colors at your camera. We'll use that.
Yeah.
Toastmaster Rajan, can you just try? Can you just try changing the color before we start the session? Perfect. Madam Chandana, are we ready with all the role players?
Yes, we are.
Wonderful.
The role players are all there. We have a backup timer also. Toastmaster Imam will be our backup timer just in case. The initial timer, our original timer will be Toastmaster Rajababu.
Perfect.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Punsa. Good evening, Mr. President Sajid.
Good evening, Madan. Good evening, Toastmaster Madan.
Good to see you, sir. Good evening, DTM Rania.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Good, doing well. Good to see all of you guys.
Toastmaster Madan, can I request you to change your background, please?
I'm in the same things. In fact, all these while I was working on that.
This is for our.
I'm unable to do it. I'm really sorry. I think it requires a green screen or something in Mac. So that's a challenge. Yeah. In fact, all these while I was working on it actually.
Toastmaster Bruce, good evening, good morning, good afternoon.
Good morning.
Good morning still, yes. Thank you.
Toastmasters, the link for YouTube link has been shared in the chat, and for Speak and Lead members, it's been shared in their in our main group. So please send it across to maximum contacts. Let this be a massive evening.
Yeah, President, we have shared it in the various groups that we are with. Thank you.
We have one more minute to go. President Tom.
Yes.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Evening. Amazing. We have 36 members in the platform now. Amazing.
Toastmaster Salim Al-Maruki, how are you? Good to see you.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Good to see you, sir. Welcome, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
So, Janitam, it's 7:15. Let's go.
Yeah. Good evening, Toastmasters and dear guests. A very warm welcome to the virtual session of Speak and Lead Toastmasters Club. This is our 289th session. Today, March 29th, 2021. I was just going through what happened today in the history. And to my astonishment, there was a war after World War I. There was, in Australia, there was a war called the Emu War. I was a little worried, what is it? So people in Australia, the war veterans of World War I were allowed to farming, and they used the armory, the leftovers, to fire the emus. After a month, none of the birds were killed. They lost some 70,000 odds of ammunitions. I hope that's not the thing in our club. We have a lot to learn. Dear all, to have an effective and productive session today, I request everyone to follow certain ground rules and few tips to use the Zoom app effectively. To maintain a safe environment, please avoid talking about 3 topics like sex, religion, and politics. If you're using a laptop or mobile, please keep the device in muted mode, and you can unmute whenever you're required to speak. Please be familiarized with your clap reactions and other emojis on the bottom right of your screen of the Zoom app, and use the appropriate at a time. I request every speaker or role player to say over to the Toastmaster of the day once you finish the speech, so that Toastmaster of the day can take over the meeting without any delays. The chat box is available. You can use to communicate using it. You can also pin the timer option is also available. And let me inform you, each and every participant today, that this session will be recorded. And at the end of the session, we'll also be having a group picture taken. Before I move, let me read out the club mission. You can repeat after me in the muted option. we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication skills and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Dear colleagues, let me invite our club president, Toastmaster Sajid, to give the opening address. Over to you, Toastmaster Sajid.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kareem Sarjan-e-Tam, for that brilliant opening. Good evening, everyone. This is session 289 of Speak and Lead Toastmasters. On behalf of Speak and Lead Toastmasters and my personal behalf, I welcome all the leaders from the fraternity who had joined us this wonderful evening, all our distinguished guests, and my dearest Toastmasters. Welcome to this very special session of Speak and Lead Toastmasters. A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, shows the way. That's a famous quote. Recently, I was listening to an interview in YouTube with a globally known leader who is also a Toastmaster, a distinguished Toastmaster. Interviewer touches on a quote from this Toastmaster, which goes like this: when the going is tough, the leaders become tougher. What a visionary thought during this tough situation we all are sailing through. One example he mentioned was switching over from the physical session to the online session. I still remember I was the last one to stand up when Speak and Lead was deciding to move on to online session. But that bold decision took Toastmasters to a different height today when we stand, even during this tough time. And that's the reason we have leaders and guests and Toastmasters from around the globe with us this evening. Toastmasters, that interview made me read more about this Toastmaster. While I was reading, something which really struck in me was he is such a leader who helps others achieve more than they believe they can. That's the key. Achieve more than that they believe they can. Toastmasters, that visionary leader is none other than DTM Richard Ipek, the International President of FOR Program 2021, who is with us at this evening. On behalf of my club, I take this privilege and honor to welcome DTM Richard to this session of Speak and Lead Toastmasters. Toastmasters, please join me with a big round of virtual applause. Welcome, sir.
It's a pleasure to be here. Mr. President, how are you today?
Very good, sir. Thank you so much.
Good.
VPE, Vice President Education, can I see you on the screen, please? Yes, madam. How is the agenda? Is there any change in the agenda today? Your mic.
I'm sorry, we're absolutely aligned to the agenda.
Toastmasters, that Speak and Lead for you. Wonderful job, VPE. Great. Toastmasters, the theme for today's session is self-acceptance. To take the session forward, we have a Toastmaster who's with Speak and Lead since 2017. Member of our ExCom over the last few years. A very talented, award-winning speaker. She's a familiar face for all of us, even including DTM Richard. You wonder how. She was just there on the screen a while ago. Please help me welcome our own VP, Madam Toastmaster Chandana Singh, as the Toastmaster of the day. Madam Toastmaster Chandana Singh. The platform is yours.
Thank you, President Toastmaster Sajid, for this wonderful welcome. Hello and a very good evening to all of you. And of course, as the President mentioned some time back, good morning and good afternoon, depending upon the time zones of our dear guests. You all are Most welcome here, and we are really happy to see you here with us. I am Chandana Singh, and it is my privilege to be the Toastmaster of the day this evening. The theme for this session, as our president just mentioned, is self-acceptance. So what exactly do we mean by self-acceptance? If you refer to the dictionary, you will see that self-acceptance is being aware of your abilities and acknowledging and accepting your limitations. So do we all accept our limitations? Are we all aware that we all are basically imperfect? Don't we all have scars? Are we all not broken somewhere inside? Do we not have some shortcomings within us? And it is accepting and agreeing to those limitations and those shortcomings, which is what is needed in our lives to be really satisfied with ourselves. To move further and to get this evening's session accepted by all of you, I have a couple of, in fact, more than a couple of friends with me who will be the role players for this evening. As you know, all these role players are integral to any Toastmaster meeting. In the first place, we have someone who would keep track of the timings of the session for us. In life too, we need to realize that we need to accept ourselves at all times. This is what a timer for the Toastmaster also will do. When I asked this Toastmaster, what is that one factor in his life which he has found very difficult to accept? He mentioned to me that till date, he is not able to accept the fact that he can stand in front of people and talk to them confidently. Well, that's what Toastmasters does to you. So please help me welcome Toastmaster Rajan Babu, who will be our timer for this evening.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today, I am playing the role as a timer. As a timer, I will time the role players' speeches as per the agenda, then table topic speeches, prepared speeches, and individual evaluation speeches. I will also allot each speaker of time they have left by changing my entire screen color as a green, yellow, and red, which denotes specific time remaining. Table topic speakers should limit their remarks to no more than 2 minutes. At 1 minute, I will change my screen color as a green. At the end of 1.5 minutes, I will change my screen color as a yellow. At 2 minutes, I will change my screen color as a red. For the prepared speeches, should be 5 to 7 minutes in length. At 5 minutes, I will change my screen color as a green. At 6 minutes, I will change my screen color as yellow. At 7 minutes, I will change my screen color as red. For the individual evaluation speeches, should be 2 to 3 minutes in length. At 2 minutes, I will change my screen color as green. At 2.5 minutes, I will change my screen color as yellow. At 3 minutes, I will change my screen color as red. There is 30 seconds grace time for all the above speeches. At the end of 30 seconds, I will ring this bell. I will present my timer report whenever Toastmaster of the day asks. Thank you. Over to Toastmaster of the day.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Our Zoom master is very, in his job. So he's made all of us mute. So in case we take a moment extra to get back our audio, please bear with us. Thank you. So we come to our next role player. Our second role player says that it took him a long time to accept the fact that he just did not like sports. Well, that happens to many of us. In fact, I myself am also guilty of that. But then coming to the role player, if in our lives we are guided by words of kindness to ourselves, we would reach the pinnacles of our life. And this is where a word master comes handy in a Toastmaster meeting. So please join me in welcoming our immaculately suave Toastmaster, Suraj, as the word master and grammarian for the evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As the grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of any improper language, as well as any outstanding words, quotes, and thoughts. As a grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day, the word master. For today's meeting, the word is rapport. Let me share my screen. The word of the day is rapport. It means to have a close and harmonious relationship in which others' feelings or ideas are understood and communicated well. A word, before we start using it, it's pronounced as rapport, not rapport, which is a lot of us are guilty of making this mistake. It's rapport. Here's how you can use rapport in a sentence. Suraj managed to get a reservation last minute because he had a good rapport with the restaurant owner. Here's another example. A part of self-acceptance is about having a good rapport with yourself. So here's how you can use rapport in a sentence as an easy fix. Try and replace relationship or understanding with the word rapport. So the word of the day is rapport. I encourage each speaker to use that word. I will give the grammarian's report as well as the word master's report during the end, and also report on the usage of the word. Thank you very much. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Wordmaster, Toastmaster Suraj. So we have to see, Speak and Lead Toastmaster Club is actually well known for the rapport which the members have with each other. One of the main reasons we find it difficult to accept things in our life is because of the hurdles we keep facing. So what are the hurdles in speaking skills? Well, the next role player is going to tell us all about that. This Toastmaster believes that she has still not accepted many things in herself. And I want to just tell her that she is not alone. There are so many of us in the same boat. Please help me in welcoming Toastmaster Winnie, who will be the R counter for this evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, for those wonderful words. So, greetings, Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. The purpose of the R counter is to note words and sounds that are used as During the meeting, I will listen for overused words, including and, well, but, so, and you know. I will also listen for filler words, including and I will also note when a speaker repeats a word or phrase such as I, or this means, this means. At the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker used these expressions. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster Winnie. We have something special lined up for you all. In fact, something fun up our sleeves. So we have one more role player for you. This Toastmaster, when I asked him about that one thing which he found it difficult to accept in his life, he gave me the answer that he found it very difficult to accept the fact that his wife accepted his proposal. Does it make sense to you? I really hope that his wife was not around when he said that to me. Please welcome Toastmaster Madan, who will be the harp master for us this evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Now, if I may ask, what is the single most skill a husband should possess? Now, I can already see the men giving me a blank look, and I can see the women being very sure of the answer, and that is listening skills. I'm already here. I can see in the chat box as well. Now, harking is all about participating. There is a famous saying which says, physically present, but mentally absent. Now, we can replace it with virtually present and mentally absent. At times, we do that, and I do that too, where I'm virtually in the meeting, but I'm not really involved and participating and listening. Today, I want to give you an opportunity to listen so that you will be able to exercise and flex your listening skills and come out with answers so that you could be appreciated and lifted up during the end of the session. By the end of the session, I'll ask you some key questions. So please gear up, amplify your listening skills so that you could win some appreciation from me as well as others when I ask you those questions as a hark master. Without any further delay, give it over to Toastmaster of the Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Madan. And did you say only appreciation? Not fair. I had thought you would be parceling some sweets or chocolates for the winners. Anyway, let us do things a bit differently this time. Normally, we have a round robin session after the introduction of the role players. But we thought, let's do it a little bit differently today. So our word master has shared the word of the day with you. Why don't I request all of you to make a sentence with this word, rapport, and then I'll pick up whoever I want to and ask them to share that sentence with us. So why don't you all open your videos? It becomes easier and more interesting. Then I can select and call for people. Right? So the word of the day is rapport, and we need to make a sentence with that word. And now I'm going to just call for someone and ask them to share that sentence with us. Is that okay? Fine. So let me call for Toastmaster Avodai right now. Toastmaster Avodai, would you like to share the sentence with the word rapport?
Yes, definitely. we have a very good rapport in speak and lead, which is the essence that we make all of our session so fun-loving. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Awadai. Really, I believe and I agree to you completely. This is one club where we have more fun, and we then follow exactly the statement made by Dr. Ralph Smedley that we learn in moments of enjoyment. Okay, so our next speaker will be DTM Rania. Please, would you like to share a sentence with us?
I believe that the virtual tours that DTM Richard basically is spreading rapport among all members within the world. And we really
Thank you so much. Thank you, that's amazing. And let me hear from DTM Dave. Would you like to share a sentence with us?
I would like to share a sentence. I apologize, I was momentarily distracted. If you could just tell me the nature of the sentence.
Yes, we request you to make a sentence with the word rapport.
Okay. I enjoy having a wonderful and productive rapport with my members of Toastmasters at this time of our wonderful gathering.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I would like to now call Toastmaster Saransh to share a sentence with us. Are you there, Toastmaster Saransh? Okay, no issues. Let's have Toastmaster Sureka.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, and good evening, everyone. So my sentence is, at work, I am the most productive when I have a good rapport with my team. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you. Okay, then now can be the term of Toastmaster Rajiv.
Yeah, good evening. Hello, Toastmasters and all guests. By one sentence, we have the good rapport among the all SALT members. We understand each other and always enjoy every session. That's fine. Over to Toastmasters.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rajiv. Our next speaker can be DTM Viju.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. My rapport with the Toastmaster journey is for the last 5 years, and I thoroughly enjoyed this journey. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster Chandana Singh.
Thank you, DTM Viju. Could I invite DTM Bruce, please?
Hi there. Good morning. I have a good rapport with my newfound relations that I have found on Facebook as I have been building my massive family tree. Back to you.
Thank you. Okay, that is something which I also have started doing, except for the online sessions. This was something which I never did. But once we have been in this online thing, I've also started dabbling into all these social media, which my son says we are part of the bloomers, not the millennials. Anyway, could I request DTM Ram, all the way from UK?
Sure. Me and my stomach, we have a good rapport. It rumbles and tells me I am hungry, and I do my best to then feed it. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much. We are happy to know that. Would Toastmaster Yaqub Al-Abri like to try, please?
Yeah, sure. I have a good rapport with my team members on the club, as we are doing always a good speaks talks together. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Yaqub. What about Toastmaster Haisa? Would you like to try?
Well, this is my first time to attend an official joining this team. And this is something that I have observed. You guys have a good rapport within yourselves.
Great, great. Thank you. Toastmaster Haisa has very recently joined us, and this is her actually first session as a member of SALT, that is Speak and Lead. Okay, I think we must end this session by a sentence from DTM Richard.
I've had to build a great rapport with my video camera.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all. We enjoyed ourselves. And this was a little different way of doing that round robin session, kind of an icebreaker, getting everyone to become more comfortable with each other. Thanks a lot. So I read somewhere that when you love yourself, everything falls in line automatically. I think it was Lucille Ball who said that. So let us try and see what is next in line for us in this session. Our next segment is that of prepared speeches. So our first speech will be shared by, the objectives for the first speech will be shared by a Toastmaster who believes in the saying that sometimes, even though you may cross all your T's and dot all your I's, things still do not fall in place. Let us welcome Toastmaster Sureka to share the objectives of the first speech with us. Over to you, Toastmaster Sureka.
Thank you, Toastmaster Fide. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. My speaker today is currently pursuing the Persuasive Influence Pathway. This is her Level 1 Project 2 speech. The purpose of this speech is to deliver a 5 to 7 minute speech on any topic of her choosing, receive feedback, and apply this feedback to her next project speech. The speech can be delivered in any style. It can either be informative, inspirational, or humorous. With that, I'd like to wish my speaker all the very best, and I look forward to listening to her speech today. Thank you so much, and over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sureka. Our first speaker of the evening is a fairly recent entrant to Speak and Lead. In fact, she joined us only during the online sessions, but she has already reached the contest stage and she would be very soon participating in the upcoming contest. When I asked her about that particular one thing which she finds it difficult to accept, she gave me a different answer. She said that individually we all are limitless. We can do anything. We have immense potential. The only thing required is that we need to take breaks and rejuvenate ourselves. Let us welcome and listen to her speech. Please welcome Toastmaster Jagruti. Her speech title is You Can Do It. Toastmaster Jagruti, you can do it. You can do it, Toastmaster Jagruti.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day. Thank you. In every parent-teacher meeting and in all of my report cards, I was gracefully complimented with, Jagruti is extremely talkative. Ever since we are born, people expect us to speak, but when we do so, over the years, things change. Impressions change. Because what we speak affects the other. How we speak reflects about who we are. Our words have a power that can either make or break. Good evening, Toastmaster of the Day. Good evening, all the guests and my fellow makers or breakers. 5 years ago, I was hired to manage a diversified team of 7 individuals. I was new, I was still getting the hang of things, and one day I overheard a fellow colleague who managed another department speak about my team, address my teammates as monkeys. Yes, monkeys. And not only that, also said, how can anybody work with that bunch of salespeople? They are good for nothing. They have no brains. As I mentioned, I was new. I was still trying to understand things. But this, I was not going to take. So I stood up and said, you said this today, but never again. Those are my team. Ever since I was a teenager and up until now, I have experimented with a lot of things. Anything new, anything adventurous grabs my attention and I want to try it out. Someday I want to express myself by splashing colors on a blank canvas. And the other, I want to transform myself into this different character other than myself on stage or in front of camera. I have been able to venture into so many different fields because, of course, like so many of you here, I too feel scared, hesitant, nervous. And I wonder, what if I fail? What if I get laughed at? I have my doubts. But I have had this one man stand right next to me with his magic potion. You have this one life. Do all that you can. Desire, dream, go for it. Because you got this and you can do it. Fortunately enough, that man is my father. When I was a young kid, my father, he narrated an episode from his life. Actually, not something that happened to him personally, but something that happened to somebody in the neighboring shop. He was a worker who came all the way from Pakistan in search of a living here. He was young, hesitant, nervous, because it's a new place, new people, new job. And while you're scared and hesitant, you know, we are bound to make mistakes. And he made a lot of them. His boss at that time didn't like him at all because of his mistakes. And he would always say to him, you are worthless. You can't do anything right. Why did I even invest money in getting you here, you idiot? That's such things to him. Now this young boy who's away from his family started feeling worthless. He started closing himself. He felt he was of no good. One day, a lady from the neighborhood in her mid-30s came to the shop. She wanted to buy a piece of unstitched garment, and this young boy was attending to her. While he was measuring out the piece of cloth, she noticed his hands were shaking because he was nervous. He was afraid he would make yet another mistake. And she realized he's nervous. She whispers to him, I think this is your first job, right? It's okay to be nervous, but so far, whatever you've been doing, it's all right. You got this. I think you can do it. With those words, those positive words, in that moment, that hesitant, scared, nervous boy found his worth again. He felt, yes, I can do things right. My father, through this story, taught me how words can destroy self-confidence tarnish self-esteem, push us to hate our very own existence. Also, how words can help discover ourselves, build worthiness, push us off the limits to set us free. I am sure you all have had or still have someone too, like the discouraging boss, or someone like my father, or that lady who believed in you. It is indeed also important to reflect which role we play in the lives of those around. See how our rapport is with them. The choice is forever ours. Among 7.8 billion people in this world, let's be that one person for someone who says, you got this. You can do it. Thank you so much. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jagriti. That was an inspiring speech. You can do it. This is what I need to keep telling myself every single morning. Thank you. To share the objectives of our next speech, we have our youngest Toastmaster. And he's so conscientious that he joins us all the way from Canada every session. He found it very difficult to accept the fact that watches are supposed to be worn on the left hand and not on the right hand. And I thought of not telling him that till he told me, I still thought that watches should be worn on the right hand. Please join me in welcoming Toastmaster Harkrishan as the evaluator for our second speech of the evening.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day. Today the watch is on the left hand. My speaker, DTM Peck, his project is from the Presentation Mastery Path, Level 3, Persuasive Speaking. The purpose of his speech is to understand the types of persuasive speeches and to deliver a persuasive speech at our club meeting. It's a 5 to 7 minute speech. His title is Living a 3240 by a 2160 Life. I look forward to listening to him, and back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Harkrishan. And now comes the moment we all have been waiting for. The moment when we are going to hear our second speaker of this evening. Our second speaker is none other than DTM Richard E. Peck, who's going to tell us about his life in a 3240 by 2160 life. Has any of us lived that kind of life? Well, he will share some ideas with us on how we can best live a 3240 by 2160 life. So presenting to you all, 3240 by 2160 life by DTM Richard Peck. DTM Richard Peck, 3240 by 2160 life.
I never get nervous when I'm prepared to speak until someone says, the moment we've all been waiting for. And then the world goes away. Are you living a 3240 by 2160 life? Now, notice I did not say a 24 by 7 365 life. I said a 3240 by 2160 life. Well, maybe you're not. Maybe you're living a 1028 by 764 life. And some of you are probably sitting there going, what is he talking about? Well, 3240 by 2160 or 1028 by 764 is the resolution on your computer screen for your display. And we've all been living on the computer for over a year now, more than we ever did in the past. Now, I've been working from home for close to 10 years now. So I've been used to being on the computer, not having to be on the video as much now as I was then, but it's a total different environment. And it's something that we're all trying to get used to, this new life, this living in a 1 by 2 inch square on our computer screens, day in, day out. Sometimes it feels like it's 24/7, 365. How many of you would have thought that we would have still been in this situation a year later, living on a computer screen, having a great rapport with our keyboard, and maybe with our video camera? But what have you seen during that time that's made it enjoyable to you? Maybe you haven't seen anything that's made it enjoyable to you. Maybe it just seems like it goes on and on and on with no end in sight. I've seen some amazing things, some amazing speeches during this time frame. I've seen some odd animals walk across backgrounds. Right, think they're an animal. Sometimes you only see a head and no tail, or a tail and no head, and you're wondering, is it really there? I've seen the floating heads where you wear the same color shirt as your background, and all that goes across the screen is someone's head. There has been enjoyment in it, but there has been stress. There has been that difficulty and that desire to get away. How many of you like to shake hands and congratulate each other when you're giving a speech? Get that energy from the room, the high fives. You know, my computer monitor hates it when I high five it. It just doesn't know how to give it back. And there are times when I've had to step away from the keyboard. There are times that you will need to step away from the keyboard to avoid that Zoom fatigue, that Zoom burnout that we keep hearing about. But there's a great opportunity for each of us here. You have 66 participants in the window right now. The world is at Speak and Lead's door. The ability to meet people from around the world that we would have never had the opportunity to before. The ability to share stories that maybe no one would have heard before, but they need to. I knew when I got the agenda for SALT this morning and I looked and I saw Gurbinder was going to be on the call, the first thing that came to my mind, what color is he wearing today? Because I know him, but I haven't had a chance to see him. We have the ability to connect the world right now. The ability to tear down the barriers between us. And that is such a great opportunity. But we also need to have that time to ourselves, that ability to just step away from the keyboard every once in a while. When things start to feel like they're work, they're not enjoyable anymore. When they feel like they're fun, it's exciting. That's when you run to your keyboard and you can't wait to get on the call. As I've traveled around the world visiting clubs, those clubs that have had the greatest success are the ones that are making fun of their meetings. They're trying new things. That share a sentence this morning was the first time I've seen that in all the clubs I visited. Now, everybody who participated on the Word of the Day scorecard, how many of us will continue to push it a little bit farther? We're all living a 32 by 40 or 3240 by 2160 or a 1028 by 764 life now. It's not the new normal. It's the normal. But we need to continue to find ways to have fun with it. We need to continue to find ways to break down barriers, to be able to connect with each other. Think about it this way. If we didn't have this ability, we'd all be isolated. What would we be like after a year in isolation? Some of you have been experiencing something very similar to that with your lockdown. What would it be like if you didn't have this outlet? This is a challenge. Living these lives in this computer screen is a challenge, but we need to look at the opportunities. 3240 by 2160 isn't the end. It's just the beginning. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you so much, DTM Richard. That was a wonderful speech. And I felt very aligned to the theme of the evening also, because you shared with us how we need to accept the new normal as the normal now. Thank you, DTM. Mr. Timer, could we please have the timing report?
Madam Toastmaster Jakruti, she spoke for 6 minutes and 35 seconds. DTM Richard Epoch, he spoke for 7 minutes and 25 seconds.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rajan Babu. So both our speakers have qualified, cleared the time limit. But you know what? This is the normal time in our club where we tell our members to keep track of the best speakers, because then we would have a poll at the end of the session. But this evening, ever since the session started, I've been getting pings one by one from our members, and they're saying they cannot stand against DTM Richard. So let us not have a poll. They've been telling me like that. And I do agree to them. We will not have a poll this evening, but we'll just enjoy all our speakers and have fun in the session. Thank you. Thank you to both my speakers. Our second segment is the special segment which many of us feel concerned about. I know that when I joined the Toastmasters, I was very uncomfortable with this particular segment. And I used to, most of the time, take the role of hosting this segment so as to avoid speaking. Yes, you all have guessed, this is the table topics section. And the person who is going to host this segment for us is DTM Saiju Victor. When I asked him what was that one thing which he found it difficult to accept, he mentioned to me that he found it difficult to acknowledge his short stature. But for us, DTM Saiju, you are the tallest. For us, for Speak and Lead, you are like Burj Khalifa. Your achievements, your accomplishments are right up there. So please help me welcome DTM Saiju, who will be our table topics master this evening. Over to you, DTM Saiju.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, perfect. Now this is a session wherein you can build a rapport with our belly. In fact, the butterflies in your belly. And today, as a table topic master, I will be giving a topic in which I would be encouraging the speakers to give an impromptu speech for 2 minutes. I'll be reading out the topic first and then randomly selecting the speakers. The timer will help the speakers with the green, yellow, and red lights. The speaker must speak for 1 to 2 minutes. And at the end of the second minutes, he or she will be getting 30 seconds to wind up the speech. And if the speaker speaks for more than 2 minutes and 30 seconds, my rapport with them may change. So today my duty is to invite maximum speakers to speak on the topics. So let me start. For this, I would request all the role players to switch on their cameras, please. Zoom master, are you ready? I will be giving you the hint. I will be telling you whom to put the spotlight on. You can now presently put me on the spotlight. And one more person will be on spotlight immediately after reading the first topic. Zoom master, are you ready?
Yes.
So the first topic of today is you must be kind to your critics. Can I have Toastmaster Thomas John on the spotlight, please? TJ. Toastmaster Thomas John, can you switch on your camera and okay, audio, you're audible. Can you speak?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Your topic is you must be kind to your critics. Toastmaster Thomas John.
Thank you, Toastmaster Saiju. I was trying to hide myself by renaming my name as TJ instead of spelling it out as Thomas John, but I think Toastmaster Saiju spotted me out there. Yes, Toastmasters and our guests for today, Toastmaster Richard. One should be kind to his or her critic. The greatest critic in my life was my wife. Right from, we were friends, and every time she would sort of keep criticizing me in one way or the other. It would be, the color of my skin or my nose or, the long chin I had or whatever. And I was kind to her. I married her. So in life, jokes apart, criticism is very important. The critic could be somebody in your family. The critic could be somebody in your office. The critic could be somebody you meet in life. Because without criticism, one would feel that he or she has accomplished everything in life. You need that critic to point out that something, that little thing which is missing, which would make you a perfect person. As the Toastmaster of the day said, when I first met Shaiju, I felt he was a little man, a short person. And, we are friends and I criticized him, But then, he's an icon in everything that he has done. And most of the criticism that he has taken, he has taken it in a positive way to build himself, to prove others are wrong. Use this criticism to build yourself. It could be your character. It could be what you are going to be in life. I would just like you all to take home this message that criticism should be part of your life, and that is what makes you a person. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Thomas. I am being very kind to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster.
Now, the second topic. Every statue was once a piece of clay. Every statue was once a piece of clay. Zoom Master, can you zoom in on Toastmaster Viju Kotanath?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and thank you, Table Master Victor, for giving me this opportunity to speak on the table topics. My rapport with this particular segment was poor because the day I joined Toastmasters, I always used to hide, as Toastmaster Thomas John told. But The topic, I really liked it. Every statue was once a piece of clay. I truly agree with the statement of Toastmaster DTM Saiju Victor. We would have seen or eyewitnessed many buildings which is made out of every piece of clay or sand, piece of stone. But I would like to connect this to my own behavior or my character, which was built by my parents. Thanks to my mom and my father, who had been building me up with small corrections, feedback, where I go wrong, and they make me to stand corrected at each point of life. When I was small, little baby, they taught me how to behave, how to be a better, and how I build up my habits. As I go into my college days, my dad was looking at me that I go and flirt around looking for a girl, but he ensured I get into the right stream of my life. As I was above 18, my dad told me, now you are grown big, now you are free to do what you want to do. Today, still I remember those days where those little feedback or those little behavior character corrections had made me a man to stand today and be a part of a big society. And I truly live the way which my mom and dad give me that small little values in my life. Thank you, and over to you, DTM Saiju Victor.
Thank you, Viju, a golden statue of our Speak and Lead Toastmasters. Now, let me go to the third topic. The topic is, to persuade is human, to inspire is divine. To persuade is human, but to inspire is divine. Let us put the spotlight on DTM Sri Raman Vadyar. Zoom Master DTM Sri Raman Vadyar, please.
Thank you, DTM Saiju Victor.
Your topic is, to persuade is human, to inspire is divine.
Thank you, DTM Saiju Victor, fellow Toastmasters. We had our division contest a couple of days back, and we had a keynote address by Karan Hari, who is the procurement head of SR Oil in UK. And he came up with this theory as to how we go around believing that we are the reason for our success. And we tend to take too much credit that actually don't belong to us. And he went on to narrate a story from the epic Indian mythological Mahabharata, where one great warrior's chariot was held on by the divine power that was protecting it without his knowledge. When this was explained to him, he broke in tears because he thought he was a warrior who was holding on to a chariot bravely. We tend to believe that we are the reason for our success, whereas if we go around doing things that we are best at, try to improve ourselves, managing ourselves better, there'll be people around you who will be doing better than you imagine they would do. True empowerment happens with your actions. Just as kids will do what you do, emulate what you do, not listen to your preaching, people around you would do what you want them to do if you are in the right track, if you keep doing the processes right. Inspiration is not my cup of tea. Doing a job well is my cup of tea. If I keep doing that, I'm sure one among many of you sitting here might be inspired by what I do, or maybe even persuaded to follow what I do. Over to Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sri Raman. Now let's move to the fourth topic. Every adversity has an equal and opposite opportunity in it. Every adversity has an equal and opposite opportunity in it. Zoom Master, may we have Toastmaster Joseph Skoda.
Thank you so much, Mr. Table Topics Master. I believe that we all can agree that somewhere along the line, someone thought that we need to learn how to become better communicators. That you and I need to work on our leadership skills. That quite frankly, we couldn't talk to the opposite sex or talk to our critic like TJ did and married her. Very exciting. So Mr. Table Topics Master, it's so important to build a rapport with adversity, because even in the chaos, the pandemic that we're experiencing right now, actually for the last year, it's opened up opportunity. We've learned to become better communicators because now we're in everyone's face on camera. We can't hide 10, 20 feet back where the audience can't really see us very well. We're right here. Do we know how to unmute ourselves? Do we know how to get the perfect lighting? Do we know how to share the information that we have in front of us? Every time there is a problem in the world, a chaotic issue, an opportunity arises. It's our job to build a rapport with that opportunity and search for somehow that we can make our community better, our relationships better, our minds better. So important that we concede the future the best we can and realize there's something out there that we could touch someone's life, share a new experience, and remember, we're going to have another chaotic experience every year. So when we realize that and make peace, we could truly understand the opportunities around us and how to use our past experiences to persevere in the future ahead. Mr. Table Topics Master.
Have 2 more minutes to have an additional topic. We will have a lucky speaker now. Timer? Timer, do I have time? 2 more minutes?
Yes, you can go ahead, DTM.
Thank you. The 5th topic is being real is more important than being perfect. Being real is more important than being perfect. Let's have someone from UK. Toastmaster Ram from UK.
Thank you, Table Topics Master. Can you please just remind me of the question? I was busy trying to write it down.
Being real is more important than being perfect.
That's a fantastic question, isn't it? Yeah, we have 2 different opposite, maybe conflicting thoughts there, being real or being perfect. We all strive to be perfect, don't we? Yeah, people say, or people used to say that, you know, the more you do things, practice things, the more you get closer to perfection, right? So they say practice makes perfect. I don't believe in that whatsoever. I don't believe there's such a thing as perfect. I believe what there is an opportunity to be better, right? So let's tackle the being real for a second. So there's a lot of people who do videos on Facebook and on YouTube, yeah, and they're trying to get views, and they're not really being themselves. What they're doing is they're publicizing themselves to be something that you like. So you will then click on the like button, so then you'll get paid for it. So I don't think that's real. So I think the people in this meeting now, I think a lot of people are real in this meeting. They're here. Why? Because they want to learn things. They're not looking for perfection. They just want to be better than they were yesterday. So Table Topics Master, I say to you, practice does not make perfect. Practice makes progress. And I would rather err on the side of progress than being somebody who's fake. Back to you.
Thank you. And thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, for giving me this opportunity, and over to you.
Thank you, Table Topics Master DTM Saiju. They were all lovely topics, and we all enjoyed listening to all of them.
Right.
Responses.
Do we have a voting for table topics?
No, we are not. We decided not to have a voting because we just want to enjoy this particular session this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I ask the timer for the timing reports?
Yes, Toastmaster of the Day. First speaker, Toastmaster Thomas. He spoke for 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Second speaker, DTM Viju. He spoke for 1 minute and 58 seconds. Third speaker, Toastmaster Sri Raman. He spoke for 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Fourth speaker, Toastmaster Joseph Skoda. He spoke for 2 minutes. Last speaker, Toastmaster Ram. He spoke for 1 minute and 45 seconds.
Thank you, timer Toastmaster Rajan Babu. And well done to all the speakers. Well, coming back to the theme of this evening, how do we learn that self-acceptance? Many times we need someone to support us, to guide us, to show us the way. And in Toastmasters, we have the evaluators to support us in our path to progress. So let us move to the evaluation segment. And may I invite Toastmaster Sureka now to share the evaluation for her speaker, Toastmaster Jagruti.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day. A very good evening once again, fellow Toastmasters, dear guests, and my dear speaker. We all tend to gravitate towards positivity, don't we? The one thing that drew me to your speech today was the amount of positivity you exuded right from start till the end. Your speech was so filled with positivity and hope. Your speech had a very, very good and relevant message. You've got this, you can do it. It's something we've all needed to hear from time to time, haven't we? Each member of the audience here today was able to connect with you just because of that. I also really like the fact that the stories you used supported your message so well, especially your second one, because that not only tells us that as much as it's important to receive encouragement, it's also important for us to encourage somebody else and be that person for them that says, you've got this, you can do it. Now, I know you've got this, but for you to get it even better the next time, I have a few small suggestions that could benefit your speech a lot. The first thing that would impact your speech a lot more is a little bit of work on your pacing. It's like when you watch a movie. A movie that catches your attention is a movie that has some slow scenes, some fast scenes, some emotional ones, and some dramatic ones. That's what catches your attention, right? You can do the same thing in your speech by applying pauses here and there or increasing the speed at which you talk. So for example, when you said, what if I fail? And then my dad came and said, you've got this, you can do it. So something like that, including a small pause here and there, could really dramatize your speech and, more importantly, drive home the message that you're trying to deliver to your audience. The other example was in your first story, when you were showing how angry you were at the other team member for criticizing your colleagues. How do we talk when we're angry? We generally talk a lot faster, don't we? And with a lot more aggression. So maybe in that portion of your story, had you increased your pace or shown a little bit more anger, like how could he say that? Those are my colleagues. I didn't like the fact that he spoke about them that way. That would have delivered your anger and the audience would have been able to connect to the emotion that you were trying to explain to us at that point in time. The second thing that I think could have benefited your speech was a slightly more powerful conclusion. Your message was wonderfully supported by your stories, but for example, had you ended it with a quote, by someone you are inspired by, That would have really motivated the audience to go back home and think about their goals so that they feel they can do it and take it, even further. So to conclude, I want to say that your speech was filled with positivity. It had a really good message. And with a little bit of work on your pacing and conclusion, it can be even better. So finally, quickly go get your next speech because you've got this, you can do it. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Surekha, for that lovely evaluation. Let us now put our hands together and welcome Toastmaster Harkishan to share his evaluation of the speech by DTM Richard.
The world has changed. We have gone from handshakes and I'll see you in the conference room to chat boxes, and I've sent you the Zoom link. Fellow Toastmasters, guests, and of course, my speaker, DTM Peck. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. DTM Peck, you have talked about this massive life change that's common to us all. And I think that is the biggest reason that I felt a rapport building between the both of us from the very start of your speech. So what did I like? I like that you started with humor. I love humor, I enjoy it, and I find it the best way to introduce myself to an audience that I haven't met before. You use questions, and humor and questions were sprinkled throughout the speech, which made it very hard for me to make notes, so good job. You had a very unique, a very creative title for your project, which drew me in from the very first 2 weeks ago when I got the title. You made me wonder a long time. I actually knew it was a resolution, so I figured your code, I cracked your code there. And you appealed to the audience's interest by talking not about big examples or big analogies, but the basic things that we all go through. The screen, I'm a student, so I have a big screen in front of me, and I could feel what you are going through. Everyone is working from home, studying from home. Home is the new normal. The personal examples were used to great effect, and they lended this authenticity to your speech, which I loved it. One of your greatest strengths is your pauses. I have tried to incorporate pauses into my speeches for as long as I can remember, and your pauses inspire me. I had always believed they add an emphasis which nothing else can, so congratulations on that. And the trifecta, which I believe is your greatest strength, for me at the very least, is emotion, your slow pace when you say things very properly, and when you smile. Those three things together, they drive the message home for me, and I'm so glad I have learned this from you. I will be borrowing that. And finally, a call to action, which every speech needs, in my opinion. If you don't have a message, then I don't know why you're speaking. But I was very nervous today because I am evaluating the international president. And I saw this quote, which said, "Examine what is said and not who is talking." I'm still nervous. That didn't help me, but I'm going to try my best. Some points of improvement that I noticed were, you have an inspiring story, but I must look to the project as your evaluator. I must be objective. I noticed broad positive themes, which were this new normal life we live in, work feeling like play, which I am waiting for the day that starts. And of course, the gift of this online connection that we all share. What I would have liked to see is a greater focus on just one of these. So a beautiful speech with these three incredible themes deserves special attention to one of these themes. So I invite you to persuade specifically rather than generally. And that is my only point of feedback for you today. Another one maybe would be, you have this great tagline, 3240 by 2160 live. I would ask you to sprinkle that more throughout the speech. It really grabs attention. So to summarize, I was very inspired by you. You had great examples, a great title, great pauses, the trifecta. I challenge you to persuade specifically rather than generally, and I am personally grateful for this 3240 by 2160 live, because it gave me a chance to see you, hear you, to evaluate you, and to be here in this incredible session tonight. So thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Harkishan. We all were actually inspired by DTM Peck's speech. Well, now is the time. Before I move on to the other section, could I have the timer's report, please?
Yes, Toastmaster of the day. For the first evaluator, Madam Toastmaster Sureka Suresh, she spoke for 3 minutes and 17 seconds. Second evaluator, Toastmaster Harkishan, she spoke for 4 minutes. That's about the timer report. Go to TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rajan Babu. Well, now we move on to the report section. Could I invite our wordmaster and grammarian, Toastmaster Suraj, for his report of the evening?
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Wow, I really have to say, everyone who was on screen has practically used the word. The word of the day was rapport, and most of you have used it with its exact meaning. And I'm really glad to see people are taking the effort to come up on screen and use it, even though if it's impromptu. So let me just share my report about the word usage of rapport. Toastmasters, all of these Toastmasters have used it at least once. Toastmaster Chandana, Avodai, Toastmaster Rania, Toastmaster Dave, Sureka, Rajiv, Toastmaster Viju, Toastmaster Bruce, Toastmaster Ram, Haisa, DTM Richard, Toastmaster Jagrathi, Saiju, Joseph Skoda, Harkishan, and Toastmaster Yakub. That's a lot of people. I'm sorry if I mispronounced anyone's name. DTM Richard has used the word twice. Toastmaster Jagrathi has used it in her speech, which was very cool. Toastmaster Joseph Skoda has used the word twice in his impromptu speech and his table topics. Let's move on to some of the things that I really liked about today's session. I liked that Toastmaster Chandana used the word conscientious. For those of you who don't know, conscientious means to do work with all your values intact. It means to do it diligently. So that's what conscientious means. I like that DTM Richard, I like the phrase new normal is now the normal. And I actually was thinking maybe it could be improvised by saying the new normal is now the normal. But it was just something I thought of. I really liked that. Toastmaster Ram, he was really keeping it real. He said practice makes progress. So it was very much in line with the table topic that he had. Some of the areas where we could improve, Toastmaster Chandana, you were most of the time on screen, so you had one mistake that you have repeated twice. It's you said I agree to them, and you said I agree to you. It should be agree with you and agree with them. And other than that, you just have a mispronunciation when it comes to sentence. You said sentence, it's sentence. And lastly, Toastmaster Jagrathi, you used the instead of the. The is usually used before a vowel, but the is used if the word that's preceding the is just a normal, it is not a vowel. Other than that, everyone was really good. The only thing I have to say is Toastmaster Saiju, Rajiv, Viju, and Toastmaster Yakub, you used the word of the day, but you mispronounced it. It's rapport. It's not rapo. It's rapport. R and pour, pouring a glass of water. So rapport. And that's my report for today. Thank you all for listening. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Well, nothing goes past our wordmaster. Okay, let me invite Toastmaster Winnie for her report as the counter.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Being such a great session, it is quite surprising that many of us have not actually had to contribute a lot to my counter today. So here goes my report. The Toastmaster of the day, of course, like the word master said, being on screen for a long time, used long pauses thrice, or 4 times. Toastmaster Suraj used for about 5 times. I'm not going to say the number, it's a little big. And the long pause once. Toastmaster Rajan used twice. Madam Toastmaster Surekha used once, and even once. Toastmaster Harkishan used 4 times, and they once. DTM Saiju used 2 times. Madam Toastmaster DTM Rania used once. DTM Dave used once. Toastmaster Rajiv used once. DTM Viju used twice. DTM Bruce repeated I have once. DTM Ram used once. Toastmaster Yakub used once. Toastmaster Thomas, even in a limited time of speaking, used thrice, 5 times, owing to the nervousness, of course. And I mean once. DTM Sriraman used 3 times. So that's all from my side. And once again, really glad that I did not have to speak today and I have the toughest role today. So over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vinny, for your detailed report. And now for the fun section. Let's welcome the Hark Master, Toastmaster Madan.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. How did you all hark today? How did you participate today? Let us check it out right now. The fastest fingers first, right? So keep your fingers on the tab so that you will be able to answer in the chat and I'll be able to check the fastest finger with the right answer. There are 3 questions. Question number 1. When Madam Toastmaster Jagruti spoke, she mentioned that her team members were criticized by another colleague by using a certain critical title. What was the title? Okay, we have an answer. Let's give a big virtual hand to Toastmaster Saransh. I think he got really convicted by the title, Toastmaster Saransh, and I really appreciate all of the others who are trying, but the fastest fingers first. The next question. Thank you, DTM Richard Peck, for that inspiring speech. The question is, how many years DTM Richard Peck is working from home? How many years? All right, okay, the first person to get the right answer is Kadish. Okay, I know Saransh already did it, but I'm going to give it over to Kadisha Kori, if I pronounce your name properly. Let's give a big round of applause, virtual applause to Kadisha Kori. It is a decade or 10 years for that matter. And the last and the final question for the evening. How did you like the table topics? It was inspiring, right? Now you need to fill the space. You have to fill the gap of the title. To persuade is human. To inspire is... All right. Okay, good, great. Let's give a big hand to everybody. Yes, a lot of right answers. But of course, even this time, Saransh has already been, he's number 1. But I'm interested to see who's next. Toastmaster Nayakam is the number 2. Saransh, kudos to you for again cracking it. To inspire is divine is the right answer. And I'm so glad that today all of you participated well, or for that matter, harked.
Madan,
well.
Toastmaster Madan, actually yes. the first one, the answer was first given by Toastmaster Sebastian D'Souza.
Oh, all right, I stand corrected. Let's give a big round of virtual applause to Sebastian too. I wish we could give you all some gifts, If it was a real session, we would have. But since it's a virtual session, I think we need to be happy to encourage one another with a virtual flower bouquet to all the winners, in fact, to all of you who participated. Over to Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, our Hark Master, Toastmaster Madan. Did you all enjoy that? Yes, I did. I know I did, although I don't have that fast fingers like Toastmaster Saransh, but there is a special prize for Toastmaster Saransh. Toastmaster Saransh, since you had all three answers correct. Maybe not the fastest, but you had all three answers correct. So you get a special speech. Next session, Toastmaster Saransh is going to have a speech for Speak and Lead. Okay, so now we move on to our final session of this evening, and that is the general evaluation. In our life, we always need someone to show us the path and show us the way so that we follow our passions to the maximum. And in the same way, in a Toastmaster session, the general evaluator shows us the right direction we need to take and highlights the limitations, the areas which need improvement in us. The Toastmaster, who will be the general evaluator for this evening, symbolizes self-acceptance for many of us here. For him, the colors of his skin and accepting the changes in the colors of his skin is the complete acceptance of his limitations, and from there he has grown bigger and larger. Please welcome our area director and Toastmaster, Vimal, who we fondly call Vimalution, to be the general evaluator for this evening.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster Chandana, for that wonderful introduction. And good evening, Toastmasters and my dear guest. I am really happy to play the role of a general evaluator for two reasons. The R counter and the word master and the grammarian all come before me. So yes, I get that exemption. And as we all know, the purpose of the general evaluator is to evaluate everything that happens throughout the session. So let me give my report for the session 289 of Speak and Lead Toastmasters. Time, the most important part of Toastmasters. Sharp 7 p.m., the session opened and we had 15 minutes for networking. And it was a wonderful 15 minutes because we could interact with different Toastmasters from different parts of the world. Our Sergeant at Arms started the session at 7:15, and he also gave a small hint of what's special about today. After which, we had the President's opening address. Toastmaster Sajid, your opening address was wonderful for one simple reason. You researched upon our main guest today and you took his story to inspire us. And that's the real backhand work that you have done. Well done, Toastmaster Sajid. And of course, he then introduced our Toastmaster of the day, Madam Toastmaster Chandana, who had such an amazing theme that could all put all of us together and make us all accept and love each one of us. I will come back to Madam Toastmaster Chandana as we process through the entire report. Today, our timer, Toastmaster Rajan Babu, came on screen, gave a detailed explanation of the role of a timer and executed his role to perfection from the first minute till now. Kudos to you, Toastmaster Rajan Babu. Next, our word master, Toastmaster Suraj, again brought in a wonderful word and was really happy that a lot of the members and guests could use the word effectively. And at the same time, you also did your role as a grammarian with near perfection. I have only one area of suggestion or improvement I would tell you is you can avoid the word usage mistake. You can
avoid using the word, Madam Toastmaster, you made this mistake. Rather, you could use words which are more positive in nature. You could have improved by doing so and so. So using a very harsh word like mistake can be avoided, which is less of a motivating word. Apart from that, excellent role by the word master grammarian. And next, the R counter. Again, Madam Toastmaster Winnie, excellent report. You went through the entire process. I was so happy that you heard every speaker, and it's not easy with such a big session with a lot of members to listen to everybody and finally give a report like this. Excellent job. And now the Hark Master, Toastmaster Madan, simple 3 questions and all of them could answer, which shows everybody was listening today. Great to hear this and well done, Toastmaster Madan. Now to the prepared speeches. I would not be evaluating the speeches because we had 2 excellent evaluators evaluating the speeches, but I would still like to say, Madam Toastmaster Jagruti, excellent speech. DTM Richard, excellent speech. And I was really touched just by those pauses. And today I feel like I love to sit in front of a screen now. And that's the kind of inspiration that you've brought in today. Now, let me go to the evaluators. Our first evaluator, Madam Toastmaster Sureka. Again, I love the way you started off your evaluation, a well-constructed evaluation speech, I would say. And I really liked the feedback that you gave in terms of areas of improvement with a very good showcase of examples. Only one suggestion to you, you could little bit spend more time on the positives, because that you moved on from the positives and quickly moved into the areas of improvement. So you spend majority of your time in the areas of improvement, which could have been adjusted accordingly. Now, our next evaluator, Toastmaster Harkishan. I know you had a really tough task, but yet as an evaluator, one of the key aspects is to maintain your time. And that's the only area I would say that you missed out on, because otherwise it was an excellent evaluation, but you started the areas of improvement a bit late, and that kind of took away a lot of your time. Moving to the next person, that's the table topic master. I would like to say, yes, DTM Shaiju, you brought such thought-provoking topics, which was apt for this audience, because we had good set of audience from different parts of the world, and you made sure that you included everybody in this table topic session. And that was a well-conducted table topic session, and we were really happy that all the speakers could use the time allotted to them. Now, the next role player, which we all miss, but we all have to appreciate, that is the Zoom master. The Zoom master is someone we don't talk about in a regular session, but now they have become as critical as possible for any session. And today our Zoom master, Toastmaster Awadai, has done a wonderful job to ensure that the meeting has gone smoothly and ensured every aspect of the speaker and all other technical aspects has been covered. So kudos to you, Toastmaster Awadai, for conducting the role of a Zoom master. Finally, the last role player, that is the Toastmaster of the day. You are the pilot for this flight today. And today you have conducted this session brilliantly. And I would say the topic, the connect, and the introduction, all of this was apt and perfectly done, Madam Toastmaster Chandana. Great job in terms of conducting the role. Only one area of improvement I would like to suggest is the fact that since you are not doing the voting, this could have been already informed to the role players, so there would not be any confusion and they would not ask about it during the session. So apart from that, an excellently conducted session, and kudos to all the members of this club. And that comes to an end of my report. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, General Evaluator Toastmaster Vimal, for your very detailed report. And be rest assured, we will take care of all these points. In my alter ego as the Vice President Education also, I assure you that we will look at all these points. We now come to the end of the session. I had an amazing time. The theme of self-acceptance is very close to my heart because this is something which I personally still struggle with. This is something which I have to tell myself every day, that we all are flawed. We all have limitations. Every single day we need to remind ourselves, and we need to stitch all those flaws together so that we can create something which we all call imperfectly perfect. Because that is what you and I are. Imperfectly, but perfect in ourselves. So I wish you all millions of moments of joy and happiness always, the way you are. Thank you, and I would like to hand over the session to the President. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster Chandna. I think she deserves a much more bigger round of applause. Gentlemen, please join me. Great job. And I'm sure you all are enjoying this session, a great session today evening. Toastmasters, before we move to the final closing address, there's a small felicitation for our members. Speak and lead Toastmaster, as the name says, it always comes out with wonderful speakers and amazing leaders. Today, I take this opportunity to felicitate few of our members for their recent achievements. Let me share my screen. All right. Is my screen visible? Thank you. Toastmasters, moving on without wasting time. First, we have DTM Viju Kotanath. Distinguished Toastmaster Viju Kotanath is a charter member of Speak and Lead Toastmasters. A passionate speaker, an amazing marathon runner, ultra marathon runner, cyclist, a photographer, and whatnot. And beyond that, I know him very personally, a wonderful human being who had been an inspiration for many Toastmasters. Today, we felicitate him for being the Education Chair of DTAC 2021. Gentlemen, please join me with a big round of applause. DTM Viju Kotanath, thank you so much for what you have done for the club and its growth. May I request you to be on the screen, please. Moving on, next is our speaker, Madam Toastmaster Zahra Al-Hajri. Madam Toastmaster Zahra Al-Hajri, relatively a new Toastmaster for Speak and Lead, but a very seasoned speaker and a very seasoned Toastmaster. Madam Toastmaster Zahra Al-Hajri stood the third place in the International Speech Contest, Division D, District 105. Let's give her a big round of applause for that achievement. Congratulations, Madam Toastmaster Zahra. Moving on, we have our Toastmaster Avodai Nayagam, who is the Zoom master today for this session. Toastmaster Avodai Nayagam recently had completed his path on leadership development. Toastmasters, please join me giving a big round of applause to all these three Toastmasters for their fabulous achievement. Keep doing, keep going more. And with us, may I request our club mentor, DTM Gurbinder Pun Singh, to take over the session, please.
Thank you, Mr. President, Toastmaster Sajid. Good evening, district leaders from District 105, my colleague, Madam Distinguished Toastmaster, Club Board Director, DTM Rania Abul Rab, and other members of District 105. Together, we welcome our International President, Richard E. Peck, to District 105 and to Speak and Lead Toastmasters. Welcome, welcome, Richard. For those of you who do not know, Richard Peck, DTM, is the International President for 2021 program year. He was a senior member of the Network Support Division at AT&T, where he worked for over 30 years. And he's been leading cross-functional teams on multi-billion dollar high-tech projects. He volunteers as club president and also for Kiwanis International, Lions Club International, and in various capacities with the Catholic war veterans. I first met Richard at the Denver, Colorado International Convention of Toastmasters, which was my first and the last convention as a district officer, physically, where we actually got to shake hands. And then we've been meeting online after that. And what happened in that convention, as we entered the hotel where we were going to check in and stay, and the convention was there, at the reception, there was a very tall, handsome, smart man with a red tie and a red handkerchief in his pocket, and who said, "That must be Gurbinder." And he walked up to me and he shook hands with me, and I said, "Yes, this is Gurbinder, but oh, Richard." And Richard was right there welcoming us. We had traveled half the world from Middle East to America. And Richard was there not only for me, but for every leader who was checking in that hotel, welcoming that. And that day I learned that this is what is called as the values of Toastmasters, the respect for the leaders who are putting in their services. The international president-elect is standing there to be welcoming people. I learned so much from you, Richard, that day. Apart from that, you have 1,000 ties and scarves in your wardrobe, which I don't have. I still have just 2, but I have about 100 of these. So, and Richard always, I have found him. I met him at the mid-year training in India last year in 2020 early. Was the first man on the venue. He would be there before anybody arrives, and before even I wake up, he would be standing at the door, welcoming every single officer. Immense learning purely by observing what he says. And today we all heard him. So Richard, you bring friends today from all over the world. We thank you for bringing friends from Singapore, from USA. I'm seeing Roger from District 31. Such a privilege to have elders, seniors, juniors, and they have come to us today because you came to us today. So can we offer you membership for our club, and you can come every week? Because we really are enjoying this session together with you tonight, and this is such a nice day for all of us. What I wanted to conclude today by saying is that this is my home club. I'm not here today as the program quality director only, but also as a member, a charter member of this home club. And when I was told by my club president that Richard is coming, I said, "Oh, wow, this is awesome. This is such a unique opportunity. Let's not miss it." And I'm so happy every member of the club today put together a nice show. By the way, this is what we do every week. We only have fun. We only laugh. We only learn in the moments of enjoyment. If we find any member not doing enjoyment, we terminate his membership. So the only way to be a member of Speak and Lead is to keep laughing. And our treasurer has saved a lot of money by not offering us the donuts and coffees in the last 1 year. So we're going to charge him all of that the moment we're back to the physical meetings. And then, Richard, you have to come for the physical meeting to Muscat, Oman, and we will offer you some of the local delicacies with our district leaders, Rania and me together waiting for you there. Thank you once again, Richard, for coming. We really, really appreciate you taking out time for us and your generosity in delivering a speech as a normal member, showing us the humbleness that you bring with you. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome International President Richard E. Peck to deliver his message for our club.
Well, thank you, DTM Gurbinder, for that. This was a lot of fun. This meeting was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me. Thank you for making me laugh. Thank you for making me think. I was listening to Saju's table topics, and the question about the statue, and every statue started out as clay, got me thinking about us as individuals. And when we first joined Toastmasters, our speaking wasn't where it needed to be, or we didn't think it was. Our leadership skills may not have been where they needed to be. And we were molded through the support of others, each mentor, each evaluator, carving a little bit more into us to help us be who we could be. And I was sitting there thinking, if each of us could reflect, what would our statue look like when it was completed? Kind of an interesting thing to think about. Almost like talking about legacy and what will your legacy be? But what would your statue look like? I think somebody would have to go and change the turban for Gurbinder every day just so they could keep it up to speed. But this is what we do as Toastmasters. We support each other. We help each other grow greater than they think they can. And when you think back to the first time you saw a guest there and you gave them table topics and they were terrorized by it, right? They're grabbing onto the lectern when we had a lectern and their knuckles are getting white and they're swaying back and forth. And when they finally sit down, you're never sure if you're going to see them again. And they come back and you encourage them and you mentor them and you support them. And what happens? They go on to become district leaders. They go on to become speech champions. Because you helped them to get there. You helped them reach beyond where they thought they could. The world we're in today seems strange because it's outside of what we're used to. Being in person, taking that energy from one another, that handshake, that high five that I mentioned earlier. But that's a challenge if we look at it as a challenge. See, I like to take challenges and flip them upside down and say, where's the opportunity? What can we do differently? How can we take the focus off the negative and put it to the positive? Too oftentimes we spend focusing on challenge because it seems to be insurmountable. But we can find opportunity in it. Members of clubs know about their clubs. Clubs may know about other clubs in the area. But do they know about clubs around the world? Do they know culture, personality? Have they ever heard someone speak in another country or received an evaluation? The opportunity that the pandemic has given us is to change the world, to shrink the size of it. Not physically, we'll never shrink the size of the world physically, but we've shrunk the distance between us by being able to connect anywhere in the world at any time. The barrier is not getting on an airplane anymore. The barrier is a time zone. And if you're willing to get up early or stay up late, you can be anywhere. You can share your message with anyone. There's a cultural evolution that I'm seeing right now in our organization, and it's us tearing down the barriers of understanding each other. And if we come out of this pandemic stronger in knowledge of one another, stronger in acceptance of one another, then sitting behind these keyboards all day long will have been worth it. The world tour has allowed me to meet individuals that I wouldn't have otherwise, to be able to give a speech and receive feedback, to see if my message is getting across or not. How valuable is that? How valuable is that? Our ability to connect as humans is one of the basic things that we need. And we need to be able to connect through understanding and knowledge of each other. And to that point, I have a challenge for the club. So as you know, you're a member of the International President World Tour, the first ever World Tour, and only 145 clubs are being visited. So 145 clubs, 145 countries. Speak and Lead was the one for Oman. There were 66 participants here at one point in time. That means there's about 3.5 million people who still don't know about you. When the World Tour is done, I'll be putting a journal together of all the clubs I visited. I asked the club to provide me with a write-up of what you would like the rest of the world to know about you, your club, your country, your culture. What is it that if you had the opportunity to share, you would share? There's no length restriction on it. You're proud of your country, you're proud of your club, you're proud of your members. Let it spill out on a sheet of paper. The only thing I ask is that you provide it in a Word document so that I can easily put it into the journal. Once I've gotten responses from those who want to respond, I'll provide the journal to all the clubs I've visited. And then we will share it on social media so the rest of the world can get a chance to know about you. And they didn't show up. The members who showed up today didn't show up because of me. They showed up because there was an opportunity to visit your club. I just happened to be the delivery method for it. But I'm pretty sure if they had the opportunity to visit your club in Oman, they would want to do it. Toastmaster of the day, I turn it back to you, or the club president. Who am I turning it back to now? The club president, I believe.
Thank you so much, International President, for that thought-provoking speech. I think I should not be speaking more because there's huge to take over from that amazing 5 minutes of speech, sir. Toastmasters around the globe, leaders, distinguished guests, thank you so much from each one of us from Speak and Lead for your valuable time today evening. With that, I declare the session adjourned and request you to be on the platform for a group photograph. Thank you so much. Stay safe.
May I request everybody to switch on your cameras with your nice backdrops? Yeah. I'm waiting for a few more and then we can go on a count of 3. Toastmaster Rajam Babu, yeah, okay. I have a few more. Toastmaster Nayagam, Toastmaster Maureen, Saad, Raminder Singh.
Did you thumbs up? Double thumbs up.
Toastmaster Thomas is essential for the picture because we normally don't see. And Toastmaster
double thumbs up.
Toastmaster Raminder Singh, Toastmaster Jamil,
Harkishan.
Alex. Okay. Just a few more to go and then we can be ready. All right. On a count of 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to have one more. All right. On a count of 3, 1, 2, and 3. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. We all enjoyed.
Thank you. Good night.
So much.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
To everybody.
Take care.
Good night.
Stay safe and healthy, everybody. Look forward to visiting you in Oman sometime.
Most welcome.
Thank you, DTM Richard. Thank you, DTM Rania, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you, everybody, from Canada to Zimbabwe to Sri Lanka, UK,
Singapore.
Bye-bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye, Roger from USA. Thank you for joining us,
Thank you so
Roger.
much for joining us.
Thank you.
Has anybody activated the ability to save the chat yet? Somebody who's the host or co-host needs to hit the little thing behind the shield so that we can actually have the 3 little dots so we can save the file in our computer so we know where we've been. Plus all the great like little links and comments and stuff like that.
Abadai, can we do that? Master?
Let me check on that. I don't think we have enabled that option.
I
But
think
it can be done. Yeah.
I think when our the recording gets over, I think in the same folder the chat also will come.
Chat also comes, yes.
So we
Okay,
can,
well,
we
yeah,
can
for-
send
for-
that
for the-
chat
for-
or through a mail. You can take his email ID and we can mail it to him.
Okay,
Sure.
I'll put my email in the thing then, because yeah, typically whoever the Zoom host or wherever the account is will get the file when it closes up. But typically, most clubs have it activated so that the members, when they get their comments shared or whatever, can save it themselves. But my email is
You can put it in the chat so we can get the chat and find
it's coming up.
Yes, I'll admit I'm like Toastmaster Todd. I like to save the chat. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
his
Have a
email ID
nice
has
day.
come our day. You
Yeah.
can make a note of that email ID.
Yes, and I must say I'm a fan of 2-hour clubs that meet every week. I think that's exactly the right approach. My own home club does that, and in the USA it's not common.
Okay.
All right. We can share our link. Probably you can join us whenever time permits.
Yes, please. This is actually a pretty good time slot. So I would like to come again.
What's your time zone? Here it is evening 9 o'clock, 9:15.
Yes, that's correct. You're 8 hours ahead of me. It's
Okay.
it's 10 after 1 for myself and Todd.
Okay.
We will make sure to share our meeting links with you.
Okay, well, I probably should give my email address so you have that ability.
You could also drop in that you're having a meeting tonight. Maybe if there's anybody that's early in the morning getting up, they might come to your meeting.
Oh, that is true. It would be early for you guys. Yes. Although I guess not crazy early. Well, yeah, it kind of is. We meet in 6 hours. So yes, it would be at like 3:15 in the morning. So if you do happen to be a very early riser, some people get up 4 or 5 a.m. I suppose maybe some at 3 a.m. You're certainly welcome to come and see a 2-hour club on the other side of the world.
Okay.
Sure, I
Sure.
think we
Gotcha.
should make it.
So a pleasure to host all of you. Thank you.
Yeah, my
Do you
favorite roller
normally
coaster
get
now.
like 65 people at a meeting, or is it normally only like 20 to 30 at a normal typical meeting?
20 to 25, yes.
Okay.
25, 30.
Okay. That's a good showing where everybody can come, see, do, play, and take away something.
Okay. True.
When it's
All
too
right.
small, everybody's doing way too much, and when it's too large, everybody's sitting back going, "I hope somebody did it."
Right.
Well, thanks for
Yes.
having us, guys. It was a great meeting.
Thank
Wish you all the best.
Thank you so much for joining us today evening.
Before I leave, you said this is your 280 somethingest meeting. So you've been around for what, like 4 or 5 years?
Now it's
Yeah,
almost
5 years.
close to 6 years.
6 years,
Like
okay.
2015 we started, October.
Okay, excellent.
We started meeting 6 months before, that is from 1st of April onwards, 2015, we started meeting casually. And we registered club become October 2015.
Okay. Well, good. Thank you very much, and have a very good day, everybody, or good evening because
Thank you.
you're heading
Nice
off to
meeting
bed.
all of
We're
you.
we're heading off to the
Yeah.
rest of our day.
You too.
Wish you all
Thank you.
the best for the day.
Yes,
All the
I'm just about to head out. But I'm just going to put my my meeting info very quickly in the chat if you guys want to save it.
Okay.
I'll admit the time is probably not very convenient for most, but who knows? If you need some, if you're having trouble sleeping, you have a bout of insomnia, we'll help put you to sleep. Wait a minute.
That's not selling your club, man. You
That's
gotta say
all.
you
Yeah,
want to
wait a
get
minute.
gas, like biggest coffee, man. Keep you up all night.
Yeah.
Right, right. Oh my god. Okay, just 1 second. I just have it now.
You off to
Well
another
done,
club this
Chandana.
afternoon?
It went very well. Nice.
I might be in a little bit. Not right now. I'm taking a little break. I'm in the middle of my work day.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta do a couple of errands as well. So maybe I'll catch you up at your place tonight.
Yeah, you haven't
Yep.
been there in a while. Hopefully we'll see you.
Well, they got that event going on in District 35, so I'm gonna probably hit that between 8 and 9 o'clock our time.
Oh, okay.
The business expo or something.
Oh, I didn't.
But I might
didn't
drop
see
into
that.
yours.
Okay, up to you. All right, guys. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you
Have a
so much.
wonderful day.
Bye-bye.
Yes, take care, everybody.
Yep. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Okay, guys, it was a good show, and thanks to President and Vice President and Area Director, and thanks to Avodai for keeping the entire chain up. So you can attend if you are not sleeping. I think that meeting request is there, so Chandana can.
Maybe you can
attend.
stop recording now.
Hey, it's recording.
Avodai is the host right now.